Good afternoon, Year 2, and welcome back to your online home learning. I hope you've had a really wonderful Friday, and I'm here to join you this afternoon for us to do some science together. So I'll share my screen and we can get going. Okay, here we are. So just before we start our learning today, I really hope you enjoyed your investigations from last week, investigating the amount of fat in different foods. We're going to be doing something a little bit similar today, requiring some different drinks today. But again, if you don't have these drinks at home, then not to worry, because you can just replace those with other drinks that you do have at home. Okay, so I'd like you to just revisit the learning from last lesson. I'd like you to think about, were your predictions correct? So before we started our investigation, hopefully we're able to make some predictions of how much fat or how big the stain was going to be from each food on the paper. And I want you to then think, so were your predictions correct? Were your predictions about the stains the same as what the stains look like at the end? And also, were you surprised by the fat in any of the foods that you tested? So just time to reflect on that investigation from last lesson and just have a think about those two questions. Okay, so in our learning today then, we are learning to compare the sugar content in a variety of drinks. We'll have a think about what that means in a moment, but first, I want you to think about what your favourite drink is. Is one of these fizzy drinks your favourite drinks? Is one of these fruit juices your favourite drinks? Or maybe water is your favourite drink, or maybe one of these options that's not on the board. So maybe milk might be your favourite drink, or squash or something like that, okay? So just take some time now to think about what your favourite drink is and why is that your favourite drink. Okay, I'm going to share my favourite drink with you. So I think my favourite drink is going to be pineapple juice. And I really like a glass of pineapple juice because it's really lovely and sweet, and I really like the taste of pineapple. So that's my favourite drink, but I wonder what your favourite drink is. Okay, so just before we begin our learning for today, I'd like you to think about these words. We'll just talk about what they mean first of all. So first of all, what does it mean to compare? Thinking about our learning intention for today, what does compare mean? What is content? And what is a variety of drinks? Just think about what those three words mean, and we'll come back together in a moment. Okay, so to compare is to look for similarities or differences. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the sugar in different drinks. So we're looking for maybe which drinks have more sugar in than others. So which drinks have a similar amount of sugar, which drinks have different amounts of sugar. Okay, now content is something that is contained. So basically we're looking at how much sugar there is in each drink. Okay, how many grams of sugar there is in each drink. And then finally, a variety means lots of different types. So we're not just going to be looking at one type of drink to see how much sugar, we're going to be looking at a range of different types. Okay, so let's explore the drinks that we're going to be investigating today. So these drinks, hopefully some of them you have at home, maybe some of them you don't. But as I said earlier, please don't worry if you don't have all of these drinks at home, you could just replace it with things that you do. Okay, so this one here on the left hand side is Mountain Dew, and we have a blackcurrant fruit shoot, a Coca-Cola, an Evian bottle of water, a Yazoo milkshake, Fanta, a Capri Sun orange, and a Diet Coke. So these are all the drinks we will be looking at together. Okay, so before we start looking at the sugar content, how much sugar they have in them, we're going to make a prediction. I want you to arrange these drinks from least to most sugary. So which one of these drinks do you think has the least sugar? Which one of these drinks do you think has the most sugar? And then putting them in order from least sugary to most sugary. And I want you to write down 2 sentences for me. I want you to write down which drink will be the most sugary and which drink will be the least sugary. So for example, my prediction is going to be, I think the most sugary drink is the Coca-Cola. And then my prediction for the least sugary, I predict that the least sugary drink is the water. Okay, so those are my 2 predictions. But for these sentences here, you will find them on the sheet, which I'm going to attach for you on your Teams login. Okay, so where you see the video, underneath that you'll see the science sheet. And don't worry if you're not able to print this out either. You can type in the rest of the sentence on Teams on your computer, or you could just write these sentences out on a piece of paper. Okay, but on there, if you have a look at the sheet, then you'll see the sentences. And it's just the most sugary drink is, the least sugary drink is. Okay, try and think about why you think that particular drink is the most sugary and why that particular drink is the least sugary as you are doing it. Okay, so hopefully you've had some time now to write down your 2 predictions, to think about which drink is the most sugary and which drink is the least sugary. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go through each of these drinks. Now, if you don't have these drinks at home, you can follow along with me on the screen and we can look at the amounts together and you can write them down. But if you do have these drinks at home, or even drinks that are similar to these, or your own drinks, what you can do is you can go and have a look at this. So I'm just going to explain what you need to look for. So on each drink, whether it's a carton, whether it's a can, whether it's a bottle, should have a box that looks similar to this, which is the nutritional information. I want you to look at the nutritional value for each of these drinks. So either you'll see carbohydrate of which sugars, and that will tell you in a 330 milliliter bottle, this is the amount of sugar. And then if you have a look at the bottom again here, you can see 330 millilitres, there is 16 grams of sugar. Okay, so that information will be there. Now, the reason there are 2 columns, because this first column is telling you how much there would be if you were to have half of the bottle of Capri Sun. But this second column is how much it would be if you were to drink the whole thing. Okay, so it breaks it up into sort of how much it would be if you have a small amount of it, or how much it would be if you have all of it. Okay, I want you to try and find out, looking at these nutritional values of these drinks, how many grams of sugar there are in each drink. And I want you to order them then from least to most sugary. Now, if you have the drinks at home, you could put them all in a line and look at each one in turn and put them in an order from least to most sugary. But if you don't have them at home, you can go along with me on the video, and as we go along, you can draw them into this table. Because on your learning sheet, hopefully you have seen, there is a table that looks just like this one, which you'll have on your sheet, which you can fill in. And then underneath there are boxes, which is to write down how many grams of sugar there are in each drink. Okay, so let's have a look at the first drink together then. Now, once you've looked at the sugar content and ordered the drinks from least to most sugary, you're going to complete the table again, as I said before, drawing the drinks in the correct order. And underneath each picture, I want you to just write how many grams of sugar each drink has. Now, if you have replaced, for example, the Mountain Dew with blackcurrant squash, then make sure you draw blackcurrant squash instead of the Mountain Dew. So draw the drinks that you have investigated with. But if you've used all of these drinks, or you've gone along with me on the video, these are the drinks that you can draw. These are the drinks you will draw in the boxes. Okay, so let's have a look at the first drink together. So the first drink is water, And water has 0 grams of sugar. So water is the least sugary drink. Okay, so 0 grams of sugar. So if you have not already, you could draw the bottle of water in that first box there, and underneath that write 0 grams. Okay, that's water. The next drink is Diet Coke. Now these aren't all in order, okay? So Diet Coke has 0 grams of sugar as well. And that's why it's called Diet Coke, because it has no sugar and no calories. Okay, so Diet Coke also has 0 grams of sugar. The next drink is the Robinson's Fruit Shoot. Okay, so in 200 millilitres, there are 1.6 grams of sugar. Okay, so that's only a little bit more than in the water and the Diet Coke. Okay, so you can draw the fruit shoot in the next box and write 1.6 grams underneath that if you haven't already. And then the next drink is the Yazoo, the milkshake. As you can see here, you see carbohydrates, of which are sugars. And that's 9.4 grams there. So look, it's going up quite a bit more now, looking at those sugars, 9.4 grams. Okay, then we have our Capri Sun, which is 16 grams there. And then the next drink is the Fanta, which has 12 grams. Okay. Then the next drink is the Coca-Cola, which has 35 grams of sugar. So the Coca-Cola has a lot of sugar in it. And then the Mountain Dew has got 46 grams of sugar. So again, a really high amount of sugar in that drink there. Okay, so looking at the results then, hopefully this is the order that you have drawn, okay, but as I said earlier, maybe your order looks a little different if you've replaced some of these drinks with drinks you have got at home. Okay, so if you were using these drinks, then we should have water at 0 grams, Diet Coke at 0 grams, Fruit Shoot at 1.6 grams, and we've also got, that's half a teaspoon. And Yazoo is 9.4 grams, which is 2.5 teaspoons. 16 grams is 3 teaspoons. Fanta is 24 grams, which is 6 teaspoons. Coca-Cola is 35 grams, which is 8.5 teaspoons. And Mountain Dew is 46 grams, which is 11.5 teaspoons. Okay, so that is the result. So well done if that was the same results that you managed to find as well. So finally then, some questions for us to think about. Looking back at your table, I want you to think about which drink had the most sugar. And how do you know it had the most sugar? Using the data that we found out, how do you know that drink had the most sugar? Then, which drink, or maybe which drinks, has the least sugar? And how do you know they had the least sugar? So once you've thought about that, I want you to think, why do you think this? Why does that drink have the most sugar? And why does that drink have the least sugar? And then finally, were your predictions correct? Think about those predictions we made at the start of the lesson, thinking about which drinks were the most and least sugary. Did you get them right? Okay, so if you're doing your learning on the sheet, which I added to Teams for you, then you'll see a sentence at the bottom of that table, which is just to fill in which drink had the most sugar and which drink had the least sugar. If you don't have the sheet, if you're doing it on a piece of paper, you can just write out 2 sentences for me. So you can write the drink with the most sugar was, and the drink with the least sugar was, just so you've got those results there for you. Okay, that's the end of our science lesson for today, Year 2. I hope you've really enjoyed it, looking at the different sugar content in different drinks. I hope you really enjoyed your investigation, and I hope you have a really wonderful weekend. Bye-bye for now, Year 2.